not. And here we are. We're going to work on some pencils right now. Here I am. I'm taping down a blank sheet of paper. I got my designs off to the left-hand side. I'm going to be doing three-point perspective. So I'm using the masking tape here. Just to kind of figure out where I'm going to be putting everything. So that one to the left-hand side, that one to the right-hand side. And then I'm going to even them out. I want to make sure I even them out so that way I know exactly where my horizon line is. Right there I kind of go, you know what, maybe I want a goofy horizon line. But then I once again changed my mind. And let's go ahead and put it back. So I went and put them back. And let's get started from there. And first thing I do, got a building. Put a big building. And then I start working on the main focus character of this particular page. It's a 2-panel page. It's kind of like a splash, but it's got a small insert panel on it. And this main character is called the Big Fat Voodoo Momma Jamba Pageant Queen. And she's a big giant woman. I could try to make her like a cross between like Elvira, Godzilla, and the mom from Honey Boo Boo. So some real sick, nasty stuff right there, if you know what I mean. So right now I'm just forming herself. I've got my design over to the side, my thumbnail from the script is over off to my left-hand side. So I kind of know, I know where I'm going with the picture. I've got the rough drawing of it, and here I'm putting in some buildings. That's a building that's falling over. She's knocking over a bunch of buildings. I figure she's roughly about 40 feet tall. And, she's just ginormous. Right there I made her boobs like a lot bigger. Just so you know, this is not a comic book for kids. There's nothing really bad in this actual particular page. That's why I chose this page to put on YouTube, because a lot of the other pages that I have, they would not be appropriate for YouTube. Now right there, that is the Dark Mushroom. He's our main hero, and this is him kind of looking over the ledge. He's looking over the ledge. He sees Big Fat Voodoo Momma Jamba Pageant Queen, and he's kind of like, oh no, here we go. There's no real backstory between them within this, but you can tell that he's met her before. He knows he's dealing with something big. Within the first 4 pages, you'll see that he knows that he's in for some trouble. Those are his giant swords right there. That's a Slicer, and the other one is Dicer, and he's getting those ones there. He's got them on his back, the trusty spot where all swordsmen keep their dual swords on their back. And so the Dark Mushroom, there he is, just kind of waiting to pounce, making sure that he's got his footing correct, that he's where he needs to be. Now right there you saw that I messed up. I didn't follow my 3 lines, or not my 3 lines, my 3 points of perspective. And when you go off those 3 points, everything's going to get screwed up. Always stick with your 3 points of perspective when you're doing a 3-point perspective. If you're doing 1 point, 2 point, whatever, always stick with your perspective. Don't go off of it. Don't be thinking, hey man, I'm better than perspective, because you're not. It's just the way that you draw, man. It's just the basics is basics of basics. And if you don't know those basics, then learn them today. Go and learn your perspectives today and follow them. So here I am. I'm putting together the building. The Dark Mushroom, he's up there. He's perched up there. And now here we go. A little bit more of the Big Fat Voodoo Momma Jamba Pageant Queen. I was going to give her sash, but I just thought that got in the way. So instead, I decided to give her gigantic nipples. So now she's got these gigantic nipples, which are pretty gross. They're roughly, if you look at where the Dark Mushroom is compared to where she is and her size, he's probably about the size of one of her nipples. Lots of cellulite. Wanted to put in lots of cellulite on her, make her really disgusting. The cleavage, there you go. There's some of the Elvira reference that I was talking about earlier. And then now I'm just kind of boosting up on some of these buildings, getting the buildings, with the windows and all this stuff. Now, the building's falling over. You're still going to want to keep it within that perspective. You still got to keep it within that 3-point perspective. Here's a little guy falling out of the building. I'm falling out of the building. Oh no! And he's dead. There's nothing's gonna save that guy. He's pretty much toast. I pretty much just put him there to die, and it's kind of sad, but that's where he is. And so now just making the buildings, all the little details. That's what makes it. The details and the shading. For me, it's about once you know your basics, once you know your shapes, once you know your forms, once you're putting everything together properly, then it's just about shading. It's about the details. Once you have your anatomy, know your anatomy. Even me, once you see the end product of this, you're going to see that it's very cartoonish, but the anatomy's still there. It's form with function. So here we go. We're doing a little bit more. She's got a little boob tattoo right there. It's kind of like a cockroach mixed with a spider. I didn't want to make it a spider. I didn't want to make it any kind of thing that was, anything feasible. I thought these lips right here kind of looked a lot like the Rolling Stones lips. I almost put her tongue hanging out, but it just didn't go with it. So I started working on the design for her, and I kept it real kind of bleak. This is actually my first real fleshing out of the design, and I like to do that so that way I can change it. I'm not really stuck to anything, so if I think of something really funny, I just throw it in there. I just throw it in there and say, this is funny. Why don't I do that? Which I'm going to do here in a second. You'll see. I'll point it out when I do it. Once again, I'm doing some background. Everything is being layered up right here. So that way, with the shading and the layering, that way everything, is going to be on top of itself. And just the whole page, I really wanted to give it a feeling of everything's really crumbling around. The only building that hasn't been touched yet is... here's where I came up with something funny. Where in the original drawing of her, I gave her just a cross, and in this one, I figured since she's this really crazy horny bitch, that I would put a little penis head at the end of the cross, which is kind of sick, but I thought it would be funny. Here in her hand, she's got the other villain that's in this particular story, and that is the Dildo. And yes, he is a dildo, and yes, he's a bad guy, and there's going to be a big fight between the dark mushroom and the dildo somewhere coming up real soon within these pages. And right there that's my second frame. It's the insert frame, and it's a close-up of the dildo, of his face. Once again, when I was doing the design, I thought it'd be funny to make his nose look a lot like Owen Wilson's nose, which looks exactly like a penis. If you haven't noticed, Owen Wilson's nose looks, yes, exactly like a penis. So here I am back with doing more building stuff. Just really trying to layer out the buildings. Lots of ruler work. If you're not using a ruler, I would love to see what you're doing without your ruler. I would really love to see it. I get the clear ruler because I can see through it. I can see what I'm doing on either side of the line. I didn't used to use a ruler, so if you look at some of my older issues like Animus, especially Animus #1, where I wasn't using a ruler at all, you get some real janky lines. That's like a tattoo artist term. It just means like a real kind of crooked, jaggedy, nasty line. It's not straight. It's not clean. In there, I'm drawing little highlights in her hair. And then, see, on her other ear, I did a pentagram. So she's got a pentagram on her other earring. Because I wanted her to be a little bit sacrilegious within the whole thing, because she's a villain, so you can get away with that with the villains. Make them, you want them to be hated. You want people to look at them and go, I don't like her. She's gross. She's got giant nipples, and she's got a cross with a penis head at the end of it, and a pentagram, and some kind of cockroach tattoo on her boob, and she's disgusting. She's got a hairy stomach, and all sorts of just, fun stuff like that. You could do that with villains. I love villains because you can absolutely do whatever you want with them, because the more people don't like it, the more that makes sense, because it's a fucking villain. Now here we're doing some more buildings, just more building work. This one's crumbling as well because she's walking through, and she's huge, giant. She's not a BBW, the big beautiful woman. No, she is not. She is a BFB, a big fat bitch, and she knows it. She's proud of it, and she's absolutely disgusting. And that's good, because I don't think that would, you start getting into the Catwoman kind of the sexy villainous, and that works on some levels, but not in this situation, not with this storyline. The storyline gets pretty gross, it gets pretty sick, and I didn't want any kind of like a hot chick in it or anything like that as a big fat voodoo mama jamba pageant queen. She had to be really gross in order for this to work, because this all I can say is that this series gets pretty disgusting, and it's funny, but it's disgusting at the same time, which I like. Once again, we're just throwing in details here. Throwing in another building in the forefront. Excuse me, in the foreground. Got a building here. With a little chick in there, and she's like just got out of the shower, and she's like, "Oh no, big fat voodoo mamba jamba pageant queen is knocking over the town again," and I like to really give everybody kind of a personality when I'm drawing. I think about it, talk about it, kind of flesh out what they're saying, what they're doing, how they're feeling. Helps me evoke their emotions in there. Got a sign right there. Now you'll see in the finished product I didn't put any lettering or anything into the sign. I'm not sure what it's going to say. I'm going to try to make it say something humorous, but I'm not sure what that is yet. And it'll be like neon lights or something, something funny. And right here I'm doing some more background, just building upon building, just stacking them up. Nothing's just straightforward. Nothing. I don't want it to be 2D. I want it to be stacked on stacked on stacked on stacked, to where it's just like back. So you got the dark mushroom in the foreground, and then back into big fat voodoo mama jamba, back into the buildings, back in just back, and just layer upon layer. Right here you see I took off the tape, and now I'm working on the detail work, just getting all the detail stuff going, because I want it to be clean. So you're going to see me doing the eraser right up at the top of the page. You'll see my little white eraser, and I'll be grabbing that and just erasing off some of the scuff lines. Even though I'm using a piece of paper under my hand to try not to smudge it, it's going to smudge. It's pencil work. Pencil work smudges. So as I'm trying to define some extra lines, making sure the lines close properly, make sure that it's got the nice shading in there. Make sure you're shading stuff. A lot of people I see, they don't shade stuff. They like the anime style, and on a lot of the anime they don't shade. But in a lot of the anime they do shade, so really focus on your shading a lot. Not everybody can be Jeff Darrow, who is one of my heroes, who I've met, and he's just an awesome guy, and that guy can not use shading and draw the most spectacular stuff, and I'm just not that good, so I use a lot of shading. I have a lot more cartoony style, and so when you're shading, you're gonna spread a lot of that graphite with your hand. So here I am. I'm just really trying to fix up the lines. Just going in there with details, little fine details, little tiny little stuff, and then just really etching out, okay, well, this is that, and that's this. And I really want for her to stand out, because she's the main focus of the whole entire work. So, the parts of her that I really want, like there's her lips, we're going to really make those stand out and go over them again just for the pencil work. I am going to be inking this myself, so I could clean up the pencils a little bit more, but since I'm going to be inking it, I'm not going to really worry about cleaning it up too much. I'll do that in the inking process. If I was doing it for a different inker, I'd probably clean it up a hell of a lot more. Here's the little insert one. I'm putting a little more detail into that, into the dildo insert. Yes, that's what I said, dildo insert. And that's it. Boom. There it is. That's the scanned version right there of page 5. And you can follow me on Twitter at Gary_odd_Edmund, or on Facebook at The Odd Comics. And that's it, man. I hope you enjoyed it. Odd Man out.